I mean, this is a almost 20-page document, 18-page document that was generated in just about minutes. If we had done this on our own, man, it would have taken us months probably of work.
Welcome to Nobody Told Me About It, where Tad and I slow things down and break through the hype. We have over 25 years of strategic consulting in the IT space, and each week we have the IT strategy conversations your organization needs to be having. Tad, nice seeing you again.
Hey, great to see you, Nabil. Time for some morning coffee and good IT conversations.
Great. What are we getting into today?
So today we're going to talk about deep research utilizing Claude as an example. Some of the principles that we use could be applied to any of the major AI platforms. So I thought, let's use Claude. I've had some really interesting results with it, and I think people will find what its capabilities rather exciting.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
All right. So for today's research topic, let's do something that's pertinent and really builds off our last episode about Project Glasswing. Let's talk about AI governance platforms. And I feel like really like I'm coming at this with the very basic knowledge about the systems and capabilities here. So this would be a great chance for us to show how people can learn a lot utilizing one of these tools.
As we jump into it, real quick, Tad, why does this problem even matter? Who cares?
So most mid-market organizations may have some AI either approved or in shadow IT, but they don't have any governance for it. And even if they have a specific platform that their organization is subscribed to, such as Copilot or ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, they have no control over what their teams are doing with their computers in other platforms, and not just their computers, but also their data. So if you're in a regulated industry, this is now a compliance issue. It's not just a nice to have platform. It's something that's going to help protect you from liability and financial risk. So the question we're going to ask Claude today is, what tools exist to help us solve this issue? And so that's what we're going to research. So thank you for bringing up the window for me here. And we've got my Claude screen, and I'm going to start with a prompt. And we're going to skip this part, but a prompt I love to ask is like, one of my first prompts is, if I pose a question to Claude and I'm not sure which of the models I should use, Haiku, Sonnet, or Opus, sometimes I'll just ask Claude that question. I'm like, hey, Claude, I'm researching topic X. I need this kind of output. Which of the models best suits it? And it almost always will tell me, like, oh, you don't need, Opus is overkill. Sometimes even Sonnet is overkill. So if you're worried about burning up too many of your tokens, ask Claude which model to use, and it'll help you out. Brilliant. So for our purposes, I have a prompt ready to go here. So assuming that we're a mid-market financial services organization that's approved AI use, but has no governance framework. They've asked us to recommend what platforms they should evaluate to manage AI risk, monitor compliance, and control data exposure. What would be your research approach? What tool categories exist? What are the top evaluation criteria? All right, so it's generated some data here. I usually just scroll through this to do a quick sanity check to see what it's come up with in terms of its research approach, the timelines, the analysis, and the different references it's going to have, as well as how it's categorizing the tool sets. I just do a quick sanity check on the evaluation criteria to make sure it aligns with the client's needs, both in compliance and risk, as well as their practical needs. The timelines, the analysis, and the different references it's going to have, as well as how it's categorizing the tool sets. I want to do a report, a survey, market survey. So let me say, can you do a market survey identifying key market leaders as well as a few good alternatives? need go into detail on each platform, its pluses and minuses, and include a summary evaluation table based on the criteria already identified. And here's something I learned from you, Nabil. I always, when I'm a little bit confused, I'll ask the AI, what questions do you have for me to clarify this? All right, so let's just assume they've got Microsoft 365, but they haven't deployed Purview or Defender yet. Current AI tools in use or planned. Let's say there's Copilot's the primary. We know there's employee use of other tool sets, and there's a concern about shadow IT. We've got some vendor embedded as well, and we probably need some discovery. So let's do it all. Build or fine-tune AI models or only consume third-party AI. Unknown. And then for regulatory, it would be SEC and FINRA. Let's call it under 500. And then this research will run. Sometimes it takes a few minutes.
You know, Ted, I noticed that it says perfect and good research, and it's always, you know, hyping you up. How do you know that Claude is right? How do you know it's not just telling you something you want to hear?
Well, you should be a little skeptical. You know, the models are designed to be very positive in their interactions with you. So if you're unsure, just ask the model, you know, could I have phrased this better? What further questions should one ask in this research to verify what's going on? I wouldn't let the positivity sway your inherent skepticism. So now we have an initial output from these prompts that is a pretty detailed 16-page report.
Now, Tad, I know myself, what I like to do is sometimes I'll ask chat, how did you conclude this? But you know, on something like this, a little bit more detailed, I don't think I can ask that. So how do you know that Claude's right?
So, I mean, I know from my own experience working in compliance, you know, I can validate like that some of these assumptions are aligning with NIST frameworks or with ISO compliance regime, et cetera. So my own knowledge, but also I don't blindly trust what the output I'm given. You know, I'll test it, I'll validate it. You know, like I'll take at least, like if it's recommending one platform and it says it does X, Y, or Z, I'll check the resources on that. I'll either look at the website for the platform to make sure it's actually doing what Claude is claiming it does, or I'll speak to a subject matter expert in that area.
Yeah, good idea.
So let's make sure that we, you know, before we finalize this report, before I go through the report in detail, I want to ask the Claude a couple more questions just to make sure it's really putting enough meat on the bones of this report here. So just want to make sure this report is complete and detailed. Please confirm you've included the following. For each product name, what it does, pricing, maturity level, and then rank them by readiness for market. It's going to check off the boxes and make sure that the things I've asked for are there, and if it's not, it's going to tell me what's missing.
And while you're waiting, you know, if you scroll up a little bit, Tad, I think it's important to read these things. I know it tells you what it's doing, but this is another way to make sure that you're aligned, because it's telling you what it's doing right there. And you can just say, well, that's not exactly where I wanted to go with this. So, I mean, you're looking at the ingredients right there.
Yes. So that's why I'm going through this and looking that it's marking off what I wanted it to do, and I wanted to then figure out what it missed and then prompt it based on that. So it's telling me that it's missing pricing, maturity level, and mid-market readiness. And then it's already suggesting a fix that could address that. So I want to make sure this fix is right. Add a quick reference table. Okay. So now it's going to rebuild that document, adding the additional detail I asked for. And then what I want to do is, once this is finished regenerating, I'll go through the document so you can see exactly what we're talking about, not just this cover page. All right, so now you have an updated version of your document based on the latest prompts, kind of refining some of the research elements, perhaps adding additional data sets that might be relevant for your clients. It will appear in the screen here as a preview, but I've already downloaded it so we can kind of go through it in detail. Let's see here. You've got your executive summary. Summarizes the entire document as well as the time frames, the rough time frames for implementing the different phases of a project to research, explore, and implement one of these solutions. It'll break down like how the tools align with different categories of the way they serve the AI governance need for your organization, and identify the different vendors that kind of fit into those various categories. So this can help you align your organization with the different categories that may fit the needs of that your organization has. And then there's a quick reference guide to each of the major players.
It's amazing.
Talking about which category they're in, what the application does at a very high level, some sample or indicative pricing. Now, I will say that in the enterprise software space, the pricing you get from this kind of research is very rough, if it exists at all. A lot of these platforms are quote-based, so this is one area I'd definitely be very skeptical about, and tell any client that I presented this to, look, we got to do a pricing exercise to validate any of this, because you're going to actually have one of their account reps generate a quote for you to have anything accurate. What I think is useful about this research is it can narrow down like one or two key players in the space, and then knowing that you can limit your initial pricing exercise for budgetary purposes to those one or two players, and not spend time surveying 10 different players to get pricing information.
Yep.
So it talks about the maturity stage of the platform, like how long has it been in business, how much experience does the team have, is it still beta or not, and then how ready is it as an application for a mid-market enterprise. Now, this is very high level stuff. Let's go into, this is where the rubber really meets the road. You get detailed vendor profiles. So each one of these vendors now has detailed summary information about the platform, including, it's in this example, key features or advantages in the left, and some risks to be aware of in the right column here. So you got a little bit of green, a little bit of very light red in that area. An assessment of how well it fits for your organization or your client's organization. And the application, or Claude did this for each one of the applications it identified. I'm going to quickly scroll through this and get to some of the summary information. So then you get, with all of that, a scorecard based on the criteria you've outlined, based on the needs of your organization, its compliance needs, its size, etc. And you can further iterate on that with additional prompts to Claude. And it'll give you a score for each of the evaluation criteria you previously identified, and add it up at the bottom so you can see how well each platform is scoring relative to your organization. And you get a summary recommendation at the bottom, highlighting in this case, 2 platforms that should be part of your phase 1 evaluation. So you've narrowed it down to 2 already that would be good fits for your organization, and also some possible alternatives if for some reason in that evaluation process you decide you need to look at other solutions.
Now, I'm seeing some vendors here, Tad, that I know and some that I don't know. What do you do with the unknown ones?
So I think knowing, for example, that a purview is on this, and it's a key resource in the governance in the AI or in the AI and document governance space, should give you some confidence that it's actually comparing tool sets that are meeting the needs or that are capable in this area. I think with any unknown application, that's where your further due diligence comes into play. This is where you need to do your homework and research those platforms. So reach out to their account reps, get their Gartner reports or Forrester reports, read through what independent analysts say about their platform in comparison to a known quantity like Purview. And then you can go in with confidence to your client and say, this fits for X reason or Y reason, et cetera. And if you get those reports, or if you find other independent analysis of these platforms, you can then upload them into Claude and further refine this report and cite those as references. So, and then this is a almost 20-page document, 18-page document that was generated in just about 10 minutes. That, if we had done this on our own, man, it would have taken us months probably of work to come up with this level of detail. We would have had to research each site, probably engage with multiple account reps to get the kind of data we want, do our own evaluation of independent third-party work. Writing this up would have taken days of our time, and then we have to work with technical writers and graphic designers to get this kind of layout. And this system is just kicking it out in like 10 minutes of work and a couple of good prompts. So it also comes up with an action plan for how you can, work through this evaluation and implementation process. And it's a pretty decent plan. It gives you a sense of time frames, the different steps of each of them, and some questions that you might want to include in your RFI process if you want to move on to evaluating these tools.
Ted, you went from zero knowledge to a vendor list. You wouldn't actually recommend based on this list alone, right?
No, absolutely not. But I think the nice thing about this document is that you are no longer at zero knowledge once you've done this. You've got some information to fall back on. As they always say, trust but verify. So, when I've generated these types of documents for my clients, I will say I will put out my qualification, my reservations, and particularly when it comes to pricing with any enterprise level platform. Pricing is highly dependent on discussions with account reps and negotiating good contracts. So the information that they have publicly is scant. So that's when you need to do your research. I think you definitely want to bring your own knowledge of whatever system is being evaluated. So if it's an AI governance system and you have some knowledge of controls, NIST controls, and other compliance guidelines like NIST or ISO, you can easily do a reality check on some of these statements and recommendations. If you have SMEs or subject matter experts that I like to consult them as well as a reality check when I have some questions about the document it's recommending to me or the platforms that it's recommending to me. And then, like I said, read through the research at Forrester, Gartner, other well-known independent entities that do evaluations in this space to check your work.
Great.
So there's one more prompt I wanted to do, just to do a final check on our work here, if we have a moment. Which of these are mature and field proven at mid-market scale? Which are overhyped or early stage? What concerns would you have about recommending each to a customer? Let me know before updating the document.
That's an important piece there, to let me know before updating the document.
Yeah, because I want to see if if it's got any, this is our chance to stress test what it's doing and see what it says. So this is something many of us probably know, that Purview is a very well-known, well-regarded platform, so very mature in the space. And then looking at other platforms it's recommending, notice it's referencing Gartner report information. So that should give you some confidence that what it's saying about these different platforms is relevant. And then it further breaks down some of the, like you said, some of the less well-known entities that may prove valuable and useful tools for your organization, but that you should definitely take multiple looks at before proceeding.
This is really cool. So this is an actual demonstration of how a consultant, an advisor, actually uses Claude to, do some good initial research. But one thing I've noticed is you still can't erase the fact that, Tad, that you have a lot of this knowledge, and you can spot check, and you can verify you're going down the right path. Again, the human in the loop aspect. If we didn't have the expertise, this could really take us down the wrong path.
So if you don't have that expertise yourself, phone a friend that does. There are many good strategic consultants out there who can help you with these evaluations. I think I like that it prompts you at the end here, like, do you want me to revise this document, including these concerns and caveats? And I'm going to have it do that as well. And we'll post some information in the show notes later, but we won't. I think we used up a lot of people's time today. Thank you. Was there any further thoughts or questions you have before we close out?
No, I'm good. This was very informative. I loved seeing how a consultant, an advisor, would use AI for deep research.
Exactly. And AI isn't replacing the advisor, but it is making them faster and more efficient and more productive. And we hope this is
good when you're going by the hour, right?
Yeah. And we hope this is a tool and process that you all can use in your own day-to-day.
Thank you all.
Thank you.